now listening to the Arsenal Therapy Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the 15-minute show, part of the Arsenal Therapy Podcast. Today we're going to talk about Zubimendi and Declan Rice. The two of them absolutely shone against Athletic Club at the Emirates, our final pre-season game before the season starts. And it's safe to say that Zubimendi and Declan Rice are going to change our lives this season. This is one I'm not getting carried away about. I've talked a lot about Zubimendi for the last few months. I've talked about how, in my opinion, he is an £85 million player that we got very, very cheap. His release clause allowed us to get him at that price, but today, an absolutely dominant performance in midfield, on and off the ball, and he really complimented Declan Rice. He got the assist for Viktor Gyokeres. He got our star striker off the mark, and that's a crucial goal to be getting very early on. But I'm going to dive into some of the key details that I saw today that I really liked. First up, the obvious one, on the ball. What did Zubimendi do? Now, the thing that I love the most, and we've seen, and I've talked about already on this show, is Zubimendi's ability to release the ball quickly. He gets it, he moves it. One touch, two touch. If he's got it and he's going, he's looking for options. Whenever he releases quickly, he releases forward. He wants that ball moving up the pitch. And today, Arsenal played with a little bit less control. That was something that I think a lot of Arsenal fans wanted to see. Move the ball through the thirds faster, get it into our attackers quickly, and make sure that we have runners in behind that can really damage and push the back line towards their own goal. Not by sucking them in and really putting that horseshoe in place and making them go back and back and back, but with short distances and in a settled block. What we needed to do was get them unsettled and going backwards in directions that they don't want to go. That's the key thing with any team. When you want to break someone down, you have to take them to areas they don't want to go. Zubimendi's ability to get the ball and just slide it straight through the lines, that is massive. We talked about Thomas Partey doing it in the past, but what the beauty with Zubimendi is he doesn't need to be set to do this. He is so technically sound and so good off both feet that it doesn't matter if he is upright, he is set. He can slide the ball through when someone knocks him off the ball. He gets a foot to it. There's a scrappiness to Zubimendi's game that we haven't seen in midfield for a while. Declan Rice is a very clean, very strong, powerful tackler, very good at setting himself and using his physicality to really shake off players. But with Zubimendi, he doesn't mind if he gets knocked over. He gets that ball away. He makes sure it reaches a teammate. And if you look at him, particularly in the first half, it's hard to pick a pass that he played that you think, I'm not sure about that one. On this day, he was just absolutely breathtaking. For me, the man of the match in the game. And I look at everything that he offered, and I think that's what we've been missing for a long time. His ability to just get that ball off the centre-back, take it in the half turn, or at times, not even take a touch. So he faces up like he's going to take it on the back foot. Next minute, he drops his shoulder, lets it run past him, and he turns. Zubimendi's a really good carrier going forward. And what I loved with those carries and those movements into the kind of middle third and towards the final is that when he did that, Declan Rice came in behind him. Declan Rice came into the six. We saw in the first half today that Declan was receiving more and more in between the centre-backs. Next minute, Zubimendi would pop up in that position, getting the ball in between the centre-backs. The two of them constantly rotated positions, and we've seen it right up until the end of the game, just until how fit and sharp the two of them look. And that's something, we're still a week away from the season starting. These two look razor sharp. They look like they've been playing for a while. I didn't think that a few days ago about Declan Rice. I did think that about Zubimendi very early on. I thought he came in and looked really, really sharp. Declan Rice is someone that I thought his touch has been heavy. He's been laboured. We've seen him run the ball out of play at times. We've seen him play sloppy passes. Today, he looked like the animal we know. He was making those big, rangy strides, powerful running to recover. We saw it right up in the 80th minute when Declan played a bad corner and he ran the length of the pitch. He started 20 metres behind the defender or the Athletic attacker, and he made up the ball, played it back, and got Arsenal back up the pitch again. But what really, really struck me today was the way the two of them were interchanging. By Declan Rice dropping into the six, it allowed Arsenal to have a player in the eight who was able to go off both feet. And we saw that causing Athletic problems. They're a good side. They finished fourth in La Liga last year, and they cause problems. They're well set up, and they look good today. At times, Arsenal just needed to be more direct. There were periods in the first half where we didn't do enough, but ultimately, we've ended up coming away with a big win in this game and laying down a marker right before the season finishes. And again, I mentioned things about going direct. You look at the goals scored today. The first one, Viktor Gyokeres, Zubimendi, bang, straight into the box. He gets that ball, he whips it, plays it in, and Gyokeres, big header. The second one, it's an Odegaard through ball. And this was something that I noticed because Rice and Zubimendi and Saliba and Gabriel were willing to move it forward faster. We saw Odegaard flicking it through the lines faster. And interestingly, we saw Odegaard go on both feet. That's something that every fan and every pundit has been critical of. But today, Martin Odegaard was willing to go on both feet. You look at the third goal with Kai Havertz. Again, it's one long ball up the park. Kai runs through, he's holding off his man, and that is an exquisite finish. He's got his arm right across him. He's making sure that he's not being taken down, and Kai's needed that goal. He missed the Villarreal game, and you could see it. It was a loss not having Havertz because Gyokeres didn't look fully sharp. But today we've got Gyokeres off the mark. We've got Havertz off the mark. And we've got two players scoring goals along with our star man who's already got a goal against Milan and now a goal today. But what I really loved was the way this positional interchange and the ability to move the ball forward allowed Odegaard freedom to bounce in between the lines. One of the things that has been asked of recently is why aren't Odegaard and Declan Rice switching? Having Rice as that player on the right-hand side that is on his natural foot and can play that pass out. Interestingly, when Zubimendi went forward today, we saw Zubimendi going forward in all directions. He could go left, he could go right, or he could go through the centre, both on the carry and on the pass. With Declan Rice today, we saw him do both things. As the game went on, we saw more in that left 8 position and doing more running and doing more what we're used to as Athletic started to come forward. And Declan Rice started to give Madueke that bit more support when he came on. But with Rice, he was offering that channel run and going round a bit. We saw Timber starting to get forward. Timber looks a good bit off the pace. He still looks like he's got quite a bit of fitness to build. But I thought he did really well today to really battle through and play a lot of minutes in this game because this is his first real run out. He came on against Villarreal. He didn't look sharp. He looked like he really struggled. In this game, I felt that there were a few moments where Timber was short in terms of when he made his overlap. For me, Odegaard played a few passes that looked like they were overhit, but I felt Timber's starting position was actually the issue rather than the final pass. This is where Arsenal need to gamble. And I think Zubimendi has made some of these players think differently. I'm going to launch that ball, I'm going to telegraph it, and I'm going to put it into a dangerous area. Therefore, you need to be willing to run. Add in Viktor Gyokeres, and he's a player that repeatedly made channel runs today. He was going beyond. He was going from minute one. He was running. He was chasing. He was pressing. But what was interesting, first half, very early on, Saka and Gyokeres were the two players furthest forward, but neither of them were pressing Unai Simon. He's an incredibly good keeper with the ball at his feet. We've seen this before when Arsenal have played United and Onana's been on the ball. For all Onana's faults, he's an incredible keeper at playing it out from the back, and he will suck you in and play it around you. Simon can do that same thing, and Arsenal were smart. Don't waste your time pressing a keeper. We picked and chose when we did it, when it went onto his left foot, for example, press him in those moments. But don't waste your energy constantly pressing a keeper that will pop it over the top and will suck you in and will create space and take two of you out of the game. I like that tactic from Arsenal. But again, the directness came back to the two in midfield. It was a real double pivot. And this is one of the first times we've seen this at Arsenal for years. Rice and Jorginho played it in a way, but what we saw with Zubimendi was a free mover. Zubimendi's very, very good at being able to get himself up the park. But I mentioned his work on the ball, and a lot of that is related to on the ball because his off the ball positioning when Arsenal are in possession allows him to just read where the ball's going to bounce. There's so many times that he just pops up and gives it. He's gone. He doesn't want the second touch. He lends you the ball and he takes it back, and he keeps doing that over and over again. It's the most Spanish thing. You go back to Xavi, Iniesta, these kind of players, these great midfielders, and there were so many other great midfielders at that time. Even Mikel Arteta was very good at this in his day. But what it allowed Arsenal to do was really breathe the confidence because we were moving it forward quickly. And Calafiori was a big influence in this. In the first half, we saw Calafiori coming in and really creating that pivot. When one of them went forward, Calafiori popped in beside. And Calafiori's a beautiful technician on the ball. And we saw him backheel down the line for Martinelli. Again, giving the ball quickly down the line. These influences seem to be stemming from Zubimendi. He's not scared to play that pass whipped round across into his fullback or out to the wing, but he's also more than willing to fire it into his number 8, number 10, whoever's in that forward area, and potentially risk losing it. That's what I love. There was one point, it was around kind of 65 minutes. He got the ball, he's on the right 8 position in the half space, and he goes to pop it in on his left foot, kind of mishits it, but he ends up winning the ball back. Gyokeres hit the post on the 62nd minute. That started by Zubimendi winning the ball back. Then he lost it. Then he won it back again, and he made a dribble, couple of quick feet, beat his man, popped it out. Next minute, a cross came in from Madueke. Brilliant cross, really clever, kind of clipped pass into the box. And Gyokeres diving header hits the post and it bounces off. But for me, that was an incredible piece of skill from Zubimendi because it just opened us up through the centre. And central threat has been something that we've talked a lot about at Arsenal. It hasn't been good enough. As a team, running through the middle, we have really struggled. Ethan Nwaneri has done bits of this in preseason. He's been very good at carrying through the middle. We've seen Saka at times, but I felt Saka has been playing within himself to make sure he didn't get injured. Today was the first time that I really felt that Bukayo Saka was really, really fighting and playing like he was ready for the season. And a big part of that is because he seems to be building himself up, playing to make sure he didn't get injured. And that's not a surprise given how much football he missed last season or how much he was kicked by Newcastle, Tottenham, AC Milan, and even at stages in the Villarreal game, which did surprise me. But ultimately, I'm looking at these players and there's a directness, there's a willingness to carry. And a lot of that is stemming from Zubimendi. Add in Gabriel and Saliba. We know that Saliba likes to carry through the centre. We know that he likes to play those line-breaking passes from deep. Zubimendi's a player that will move out of the way, take his marker one way, and create that space for the centre-back to go in and play that ball straight through to the 8. Again, that's something that we haven't had before because whether it was Partey or Declan Rice playing in the kind of 6 position, when they got the ball, both of them wanted the ball to play the next pass. But with Zubimendi, he's a player that whenever he wins it, he does things quickly. And everything is all about releasing it forward. Again, we saw right at the end of the game, 89th minute of the game, Zubimendi wins at edge of the box. What does he do? He gets his head up and he pings that ball the length of the pitch to Bukayo Saka. So that's Declan Rice, 80th minute, making a recovery run. Zubimendi, 89th minute, making a tackle at the edge of the box to win the ball and then playing his teammate through. But I mentioned the positional interchanges because this is something that I had touched on before, and I saw more freedom and more movement in our midfield than I've seen for a long time. We've been stale in attack, but I've always said we've been stale at the base, and things have been slow in the build-up, and as a result, everything has had a knock-on effect as you get up the pitch because it's allowed teams to get settled into the block. Today, we were able to go in different directions, but those positional interchanges really were effective because both Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi were switched on. They were switched on out of position. They knew where the athletic players would be. They knew where their Arsenal teammates would be. And considering Zubimendi's only been at the club for 6 weeks, that's an incredible feat. Whenever they went backwards, he was very good at running and finding a position to be in. He doesn't chase his man. And if you watch him carefully, he doesn't get into foot races with players. He's very careful not to do that. And ultimately, whenever he does that, he's going to get beaten. That's his weakness. And if you look at Zubimendi and look what he's good at, it's finding the right area to be in. If he's playing 6, he will go back and sit in front of his defenders and he will find where is the position where the team is going to kill my team. He'll take up that position. It's very spatial in its approach, very zonal, whereas some players will go man-to-man. Declan Rice can win a foot race with absolutely anyone. I would back him against Mbappe. He's that quick. He is so good at that. So is William Saliba. Zubimendi isn't that player. If he gets into a foot race 1v1, he's probably going to lose the race and Arsenal are going to be in trouble. That's not something that I want to see. But by him doing that, it allowed Declan Rice to go back picking up his man. It allowed Calafiori to go and chase players as well. And same when Lewis Skelly came on. We know Lewis Skelly's very, very good at the recovery runs, pops his body in front, lets someone hit him in the back, wins a free kick, or he slows down, drops those shoulders, get his hips close to the ground. Next minute, he's turned and he's away. Lewis Skelly's very effective at this. And again, because Zubimendi is positionally aware and in the right position, he knows that he's got a recovery player in that area to really help bail them out if anything happens. But ultimately, I just can't speak highly enough of Zubimendi's performance, because this is a guy that has just seemingly unlocked Declan Rice almost overnight. We've seen Rice play brilliant football in a box-to-box role, but at times I almost felt Rice was having to babysit. We know that Thomas Partey always wanted a risky pass, but it wasn't always a sensible pass. With Zubimendi, it feels like it's thought out. So Declan Rice is able to focus on his own game. And today I felt he was able to offer Martinelli more support. He was able to go on the right and offer more support towards Saka. And Odegaard was able to drift a bit more. So at times we had midfielders stacked. We had the ability to go either side. And that's the first time I've seen this in this Arsenal team for a long time. There's been huge pressure and huge calls on Mikel Arteta to play with more risk. Today we saw that. We saw 3 brilliant goals and an assist from Martin Zubimendi, a goal for Gyokeres, a goal for Havertz, and a goal for our star man in Bukayo Saka, and an assist from Martinelli. But Martin Odegaard heavily involved in everything as well. And that midfield trio is going to be so crucial for Arsenal this season. But it was the double pivot of Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi that really blew me away today. At one point during the first half, I looked at my phone, typed into the group, I think I'm in love with Martin Zubimendi. This player is just absolutely sensational. And I will leave it with Martin Zubimendi is changing our lives. This is the midfield duo that we have really dreamed of. Tell us what you think. Were you impressed with what you saw from Arsenal today? Do you think that Martin Zubimendi and Declan Rice are going to change our lives the way I've been telling you guys? Or do you want to see a bit more? Tell me what you think, and tell me how you think Martin Odegaard has fitted into this. He's been a scapegoat for far too long, but this preseason, in my opinion, he has been really, really good. He's looked sharp, he's looked ready to play, and he's been the player today that I saw taking risks that he wasn't taking before. Ultimately, to get back to our best, we need the 3 of these players playing at an elite level. So tell me what you think. Give me your thoughts. And given that all 3 played a long period of this game, I think it's safe to say we are ready for Old Trafford. If you've enjoyed the show, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And please join us again for more shows. But ultimately, drop us a comment and tell us what you think. We love having these conversations. Thanks, guys.